Welcome back to West Texas View.
Before the break, we were getting to know our two med students that will very soon be full practicing physicians, Robert Vasquez and Nicole Mitchell. And their name is scrolling under their picture when they're on TV, and it also gives their email address. But my email address is also on the screen, so feel free to email any of the three of us if you've got questions or if you've got something you'd like for us to discuss on future programs. We'll be glad to do that. In the meantime, one of the issues that they wanted to talk about, because as they have become very proficient in going around with the doctors and working in the hospitals and the clinics, is how pervasive diabetes is and how it affects everything and the whole family where diabetes is a part of. And so I want y'all to talk about, first of all, diabetes, the difference between diabetes 1 and 2, and what are some of the symptoms and so on. So let's go with that.
Okay, well, currently diabetes is a huge burden to Texas right now. Currently there is 9.7% of adults that have diabetes. This equals
10% of all people
in Texas only
have diabetes.
This is 1.8 million adults. Along the United States is 22 million adults in the United States have diabetes. So this disease really needs to be explained in depth and for people to understand.
And that means that Texas has a disproportionate number.
10%. Yeah, so it's a huge problem in Texas. So we felt it was very important for our community members to know what diabetes is, how you get it, and how to actually prevent it as well. Okay, so we actually have a really good picture that we can show what diabetes is and how it affects your body. So diabetes is basically a disorder that disrupts the way your body uses sugar. Now, as we all know, we eat food, and that food is converted to sugar in our body. Now, all of our cells in our body need this sugar in order for us to live, to grow, to do, daily events. So as you eat, the blue dots are going to be the sugar that you eat. You go through your stomach, and then it enters into your bloodstream. Now, as it enters into your bloodstream, your pancreas, which is an organ, makes a hormone called insulin. It also secretes insulin into your bloodstream. So we have our blue dots, the sugar, and then our green dots, the insulin. Insulin is very important because insulin is kind of like a key. It tells the cells, this is sugar, let's get it into the cell so you can use it. So without insulin, the sugar just stays in your blood. And this is what diabetes is. You have an excessive amount of sugar that is in your blood and not able to get into your cells, okay? So there's different kinds of diabetes. There's type 1 and then there's type 2. Type 1 diabetes is usually diagnosed in younger children, and that means that your pancreas cannot make insulin at all, okay? So your body has no way to get that sugar into your cells, okay? Then there's also type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is mainly seen in older adults, okay? And this means that your pancreas makes insulin, but it doesn't make enough insulin for your body to use all the sugar. And many things that can precipitate type 2 diabetes is obesity, lack of exercise, poor diet, things like this. Makes it very hard for your body to constantly secrete insulin to provide sugar to your cells.
And so a predisposition genetically is for both types. Okay.
So for type 1, those are primarily genetic, okay? You see those in your younger kids. Someone in the family has type 1 diabetes. Type 2, though, can very easily be prevented.
Environment.
All environment, yes.
And type 1 might be because of some birth defect, like a defective pancreas or a defective kidney or something that caused that diabetes.
Yeah, so usually type 1 is called an autoimmune. Your body attacks your pancreas so it cannot release the insulin. People can't help that. You're just born with that. But the type 2 is what we really want to focus on because that is very preventable.
Preventive. Oh, yes. Oh, good.
Yes.
Well, I love that graphic that we had up because that really makes it clear. But let's talk about the symptoms.
So I think what people are going to notice initially is that they'll be very thirsty. and they'll have an increase in urinating. So they'll be urinating a lot more than usual, and that'll be all throughout the day and night. So they'll be waking up in the night to urinate. They'll be thirsty all the time, and they'll lose weight. And they're not trying to lose weight. And part of that's because their body is not able to use the nutrients that it's taking in, because the cells aren't getting the sugar they need. So anything that they eat is not going to the cells, so they're losing weight that way. Then they can also have stomach pain. They can pant. They can have trouble breathing. They can have nausea.
And just dead, just so tired.
Just tired, exactly. They're exhausted. And then they can have blurry vision as well. So because the sugar will affect their eyes as well. And if they don't take care of it, they can also go into a coma. It's called a diabetic coma. So
that's when things are just so out of balance,
right,
that it just causes your whole system to, in other words, shut down.
Exactly. And diabetes will affect the whole body. So it's really everywhere throughout the body. Anything that it can damage, it will. So they urinate more because their kidneys are being damaged. Vision problems because of the eyes being damaged. Vascular, right. So it'll affect all the blood vessels, and it increases heart disease. There's a lot of things that come into play.
And one of the reasons why we have 10%, 9.7%, is because of overweight.
Yes.
And that's why we just constantly harp on getting exercise, losing weight, and yet we see still so many overweight, very young people, and so that's one of the things that we want to work hard at. But when you say urinating often, how would someone know whether they're urinating more than is normal?
Right, so what they'll notice is a change from their baseline, from what they were doing before. It'll be an increase in what they were used to. So if someone was urinating maybe 2 or 3 times a day, it's going to be 6 to 8.
Oh,
so it's quite a bit
more. So it's
more.
not like, I've just been drinking a lot of water lately, maybe that's why I'm urinating more.
Right.
And a key symptom is if they begin urinating, especially at nighttime. If you're waking up in the middle of the night because you have to go to the bathroom, that may be a sign that something else is going on, because we don't drink when we're asleep. So that could be your body saying something's wrong.
That's an interesting. Let's look at the second slide that we've got, because that's talking about, again, some of the things that happen: the nausea, the vomiting, the belly pain that you mentioned, Robert, and the panting. I'd never heard this before. The like you're out of breath. So explain this.
So the panting is just because they're not able to utilize the oxygen that they have in their blood. So it's the body's reaction to breathe, to get what it needs.
To make, because your lungs work off of your vascular system, and if you don't, if you're destroying that vascular system, then it keeps your oxygen in your lungs from working.
Right, and because your kidneys are being damaged, they regulate the things in your blood as well. So that can throw off the balance in your blood, so that you're not able to utilize oxygen as well.
But it doesn't. It so far you've not mentioned the brain power. That you slow down in your thinking or anything. Is that not one of the symptoms?
You become very tired. You just seem tired and like you're dragging all day.
So you can't even think.
Can't even
clearly.
think. Memory, concentration, everything is just off. So,
well, we're going to have to take a break. I'm sorry, because we've just barely gotten into this subject, but we'll be back in just a minute and continue this.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.